welcome back to Inside the Hem. Today we are delving into a sad but significant development in the retail world, and that is Joann Fabrics and Crafts has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection for the second time in less than a year. It leaves all of us with lots and lots of questions. I get it. So today we are going to kind of explore how we got here. We're going to explore what this means for people who craft and sew and shop at Joann and have exclusively for years and years because that's all they have available to them. And what the future could hold for Joann if they're able to get their ish together. So some background on Joann. I'm sure you all are very familiar with the store. If you're not in the States, Joann is headquartered in Hudson, Ohio. It's a well-known retailer for the arts and crafts industry, operating over 800 stores across 49 states, and they employ approximately 19,000 people. So losing a store like this would be significant to the craft community and also just to Americans in general, with all those jobs being lost. Founded in 1943, Joann has been a go-to destination for hobbyists and DIY enthusiasts for decades. They've obviously been around as long as I've been sewing. Some of you may have been shopping with them since you were a child. In March of 2024, last year, Joann filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, citing challenges such as declining sales and a difficult retail environment. It kind of came as a shock to all of us. I think if a business survived COVID, I was kind of like, they're good. But the company reported $2.26 billion in assets against $2.44 billion in liabilities at the time. So you can see how the math is not mathing for Joann. And again, it came as kind of a shock. I was really surprised to see that they weren't doing that well. But despite those numbers, they were able to emerge from bankruptcy proceedings just a couple of months later, in April 2024. They reduced their funded debt by approximately $505 million, transitioning into a privately held company. So they were able to fix a lot of their debts. And notably during this restructuring, Joann was able to keep all of their 815 retail locations open and retained its workforce. Now, I don't know if that's what you saw in your store, if you saw a bunch of people quitting maybe, or the staff being reduced. In my store, I saw more people being hired. So again, I was kind of shocked when just this month, Joann announced that they have once again filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. They say this decision comes amid continued declining sales, inventory shortages, which I know we have all seen, high inflation, increased competition, and supply chain disruptions. Obviously, there were differences between the years prior and last year. There's empty shelves. There's tons of backstock. They're not able to put it all out. So I can see how they might have bumped into that, but I didn't realize it was that bad. But the CEO stated that the company is seeking to maximize its business value through court-supervised sale process. Joann, and reading between the lines, that means Joann is looking to sell substantially all of its assets to Gordon Brothers Retail Partners, which is a company who handles liquidations and going out of business sales. So think about Bed Bath & Beyond, a place like that where this big sign goes out the store, everything must go, and the stores end up completely empty, and then it just fades away into nothing. Definitely not the path that I want to see them go down, and I know I'm not alone. Other people are commenting online, expressing deep sadness and nostalgia, reflecting on personal memories associated with the store. I think whenever you're a crafter, memories just inherently come along with that. People who have gone shopping with their grandmother, and now their grandmother has passed, and so that was always tied as a memory to them. And now when they drive by, the store won't be there to remind them of their grandmother anymore. Kind of stories like that. Other people voice concerns about the potential loss of accessible craft products and supplies in areas of the country where Joann is literally the only store for miles and miles and miles. Some customers attribute Joann's financial struggles to declining store conditions and product quality. One commenter observed that they worked there in the 80s when they actually carried fabric instead of just fleece. They are terribly understaffed with clerks who have never sewn a day in their life. And I know we all come across this as well. The fleece thing isn't as prevalent here because I'm in the South. It is a problem, but we still do have regular fabric as well. But yeah, it's hard for people to get the help they need at a store like Joann. But listen, I'll take it. I'll take a bunch of employees who have never sewn before in order to keep the store, right? Like, I can work around getting my questions answered another way. Just give me the opportunity to buy the things. The potential of closing Joann stores has also prompted discussions about alternative sources for sewing and crafting supplies. I have a link in the description box for a fabric shop map that was curated on Reddit to help sewers locate local and independent fabric stores beyond the major chains. It is a lot of quilting cottons because that's what's more prevalent, especially in brick and mortar. And I am currently working on a list of online fabric stores with no brick and mortar, and you only order online. So you're wondering, how did we get here? Elizabeth Caven, you might know her because she originally developed the patented technology that became the Ditto projector. Back in 2016, she was working to develop a projector for sewing. Originally, she was calling it Kite, but never made it into production. Instead, she sold the patent to Joann in 2017, and then Joann and Singer contracted with a production design company to use that technology to create Ditto. Elizabeth recently wrote a blog outlining her experience in working with Joann and what she thinks of their fall from grace, since she has had experience in speaking with their executives. I thought this was a really interesting take from someone who has actually seen beyond what is customer facing at the store. Her blog critiques Joann's fabric's decline, attributing it to leadership disconnected from its core crafting community. The company prioritized executives with corporate experience over those with crafting insight, leading to uninspired product lines, neglected store conditions, and missed opportunities in digital innovation, which has become so relevant lately. She tells a story about her experience in trying to work with Joann. She says, in 2015, I tried unsuccessfully to connect with someone about a digital breakthrough in sewing, which would have become Ditto. When my emails and calls went unanswered, I literally drove to the company's headquarters in Hudson, Ohio, and tried to get an in-person meeting. She says a security guard took pity on her and made calls internally to see if there was someone who could talk with me, but she was told, and she quotes, "We don't do anything digital, so we don't know who to have her talk to." Honest, right? But looking back, obviously seeing the writing on the wall. This is what she told them in reply. "I know you haven't gone digital. That's why I'm here." She said it didn't work. It didn't matter. She was escorted out of the building that day and wasn't able to speak with anyone. She continued to work hard to become entrenched in the industry and had meetings with the executive teams of just about every sewing and craft related company you could think of. One thing they all had in common is that they were all vendors to Joann. And it seemed that Joann was truly the hub for the entire industry. So she kept at it and kept trying to find an in at Joann. A year after that first encounter that she was escorted out of the building, she was introduced to the head of sewing at Joann. So she went back to Ohio, filled with excitement and hope that the timing was better for the most powerful sewing-related retailer in the United States to embrace the digital future. She says those hopes were dashed within the first 10 seconds of the meeting when the department leader, the head of sewing, made it very clear that they had never even seen a sewing pattern out of the package and had no idea how one worked. She spent 30 minutes teaching the leader of sewing how the Joann customer uses sewing products found in their stores. These are the very products that this individual was in charge of buying to put on the shelves. So you can see how from the top trickling down, if the head of sewing has no clue what he's even selling or bringing into the store, how is he supposed to stay on top of what's cool and innovative? Like, if he isn't actually a sewist himself or knows a sewist even, how is he supposed to know that everybody doesn't want 55 million yards of fleece in their stores? How is he supposed to know that patterns are sold by the season and it's very important for them to get them out as soon as the collections are released because it's a timing issue, right? He's never supposed to know that at all. And then beyond that, looking toward the future with digital products like Ditto or like what she was trying to sell them, how is he supposed to know how Ditto is any different than just a regular sewing pattern? He would never see the value in it if he doesn't know how a regular sewing pattern works, right? And it makes me wonder, honestly, how they lasted this long, to be truthful with you. But despite the bankruptcy filing, Joann intends to keep its stores and online operations open during this process and is actively seeking alternative bids to continue operating. That is what I'm giving hope to. That's what I'm manifesting. However, the company still holds $615.7 million in liabilities, including over $133 million owed to suppliers and $26 million in monthly rent expenses. Joann is actively soliciting alternative bids from parties interested in continuing operations while the bids are being considered for liquidation. They could include private equity firms focused on retail turnarounds, like the company that previously acquired Joann in 2011. Also, strategic partners within the space like Michaels or Hobby Lobby might consider acquiring Joann to expand their market share. E-commerce platforms focusing on crafts and fabrics could also see value in Joann's established brand and customer base. The outcome will depend on the interest and viability of these potential buyers to submit competitive bids that align with Joann's goal of maintaining operations and preserving jobs. Of course, the situation remains fluid and further developments are anticipated as the sale process progresses. In addition to dwelling on the fact that we are going to potentially be losing Joann, I really want to manifest. I really want to put energy into the idea that someone will come and purchase Joann and keep it open. In addition to Michaels, in addition to Hobby Lobby, I can also see Walmart making a play. I could see Amazon making a play. Like, I know they bought fabric.com and I know we weren't happy about that. And I know that what they've done with that is questionable at best. But there's got to be some other retailers who might want to take over. Hey, what about Spotlight? Or isn't there like a Canadian one? Maybe they want to come into the US and just continue what they already do in their respective countries and just do it here. I know there's got to be somebody out there who is willing to pick this up. There's got to be somebody. It would just be the worst thing ever to see all that stuff liquidated. I mean, granted, it'd be great to get some fabrics for really, really, really cheap, but that's such a short-lived positive. We do have until March the 15th, so just under a couple of months for something to happen. I, of course, will continue to stay on top of this story, monitor the update, and provide them as more information becomes available. Thank you for watching. If you have found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I know we have a lot of them about this topic, but that is going to do it for me today, y'all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.